Well, Razorback fans, it was Razorback Day here at SEC Media Days, and we got a chance to catch up with KJ Jefferson as well as Landon Jackson. And it's going to be pretty fun to talk about not only football, but non-football related things with them on today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I'm also the host of Out of Bounds. You can catch every weekday afternoon from 1 to 4 on 103.7 The Buzz and 103.7thebuzz.com. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday, as we had a chance to hear a lot from Sam Pittman and a lot of the players that, of course, Arkansas was able to bring to SEC Media Days here in Nashville, and had some pretty interesting things to discuss with those guys. But listen, you don't want to hear from me. You want to hear from the people themselves. And we had a cool little sit down with both KJ Jefferson and Landon Jackson. And then we'll also discuss some of the cool things that Sam Pittman had to say in the big room. So we had to record this. So it's not a live thing as much as I would have liked to have been. But we recorded it earlier. So without further ado, here is KJ Jefferson joining us on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast earlier today in Nashville for SEC Media Days. Live from SEC Media Days, we're going to keep it moving with Arkansas Day today, as we are now joined by a very special guest, KJ Jefferson, the quarterback for Arkansas. KJ, appreciate you joining us. How you doing this afternoon?
Doing good. How you doing?
Doing good. So what's your SEC Media Days experience been like so far?
It's been fun. I mean, this is my second year here doing the SEC Media Days, so it's been fun. Just enjoying the moment, embracing the moment.
This offseason, you're going into being your third year as a starter. How has this offseason been and felt differently maybe from your previous offseasons that you've gone through?
My mentality is just a do-or-die season for me, so I'm just giving it in my all this season, make sure I'm in the best shape, make sure I'm being disciplined as far as nutrition-wise, make sure that I'm taking each and every day and approaching it with the game day mindset.
I know you're a confident guy, but there's a lot of talk around here that you're the best quarterback in the SEC. I'm going to vote you as your first team all SEC quarterback. But when you start hearing those things and getting that hype, just what do you make of that, and how do you balance that out to make sure you just stay focused on the task and not to read the headlines too much, if you will?
I mean, you hit it right on the head. I mean, the main thing is I want to stay focused on the main thing and not getting my focus off the main thing and getting into all the rankings and the votes and all the things. I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, I watch it. I mean, I look at it. My family sends it to me all the time, whether it's SEC rankings, whether it's articles about different things. So, but the main thing is I want to make sure that I'm taking care of the main thing, and that's making sure that I'm putting my teammates in the best position to win, make sure that I'm doing what I have to do to make sure that Arkansas become a very special place.
So what's the offense going to look like this year compared to different years? Because I know Dan Enos is now the offense coordinator, quarterbacks coach. Just if you could kind of describe to people how is it going to look differently from what it's been before and what people can expect this season?
Just approach that offense. I mean, with some spread concepts into the approach style. So look for a lot of we're gonna stretch the ball. I mean, we're gonna run the ball, we're gonna throw the ball. I mean, we got a lot of weapons that we can do schematically, and also just looking forward to just having fun and just everybody just embracing it, and also just seeing the different changes in the system that we was in previous to where we in now.
You have a lot of new wide receivers, got some new tight ends. Just, what's it been like breaking in those new guys and some of the rapport that you've built with them so far since they've been on campus?
It's been fun just getting in, learning those guys, hearing their stories and where they come from and their journeys and to lead to Arkansas. So it's been pretty fun. I mean, I've enjoyed each and every one of them. All of them loves to work. Just being able to get in, build timing, and also just getting in and just bonding with each other. I mean, just knowing each other, just knowing each other personal life and stuff like that. So, I mean, that goes a long way in the college football world because, I mean, that's at the end of the day, you're out there with your teammates, and those guys have your back just as well as you have their back.
So when KJ Jefferson's not playing football or practicing football, studying film, what does KJ like to do just in his spare time during the summer?
Shop and sleep.
Shop and sleep.
Shop and sleep. That's all I do. Shop and sleep, man.
So shopping as in, I mean, is it clothes? Is it just everything in general?
Everything in general. Clothes, shoes. I do it all. Shop. I do it all.
Okay.
And also sleep. I busy day, busy guy. Got to get my sleep in.
Yeah.
That's part of my biggest thing to my recovery.
Yeah, I probably should have slept a little bit more last night. I'm struggling today. So yeah, but then also I noticed that you seem like you're a big car guy. Like you love your car, you love your vehicle, and it just what kind of vehicle is it? Because I know a lot of people love cars, and obviously, but you got a passion for it. It seems like.
So I have a Dodge Challenger wide body scat pack right now, 2019, and then I also have a Dodge Charger, just a regular Dodge Charger I have too. So those are my two cars right now, and I'm looking on the market for something else right now, but my mom not telling me. She's being a mom right now and telling me I don't need it and all that. We'll see how it goes.
So what's your dream car? Is there one that you look at when you make it to the NFL, make all those millions? Is there a car you're like, I'm going to get that as soon as I get there?
Dream car that I got. I would say probably. That's kind of hard because I really haven't just really thought so much on it. But I would say probably a G-Wagon.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
A G-Wagon, Mercedes G-Wagon.
Okay. Because see, I have a truck and I like putting options on it. Like it's a good truck, but then I throw some things on it. So I guess you're probably somebody who likes to throw all the options on it too, all the bells and whistles. Of course.
Of course. You got to make sure it look good, make sure you're running good.
Yeah. So because when you drive around campus, everybody takes notice.
Of course.
When you're out there. So so any other passions that you have? Just obviously cars. You said shopping and everything, but
and just hanging with some of my teammates, man. Just being able to go to their house with me. We play the game. We might go out to eat. Not too long ago, we all went bowling, and then we did the little go-karts. We went to a little go-kart thing and raced on the go-kart. So I mean, just being able to just doing stuff outside of football, that bonding. I mean, it's just always a good thing to have.
You a good bowler?
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm not. Bowling is not my cup of tea. I mean, I can do it, but it's like it takes a lot. It takes a lot.
Is there a guy on the team that is really good at bowling? Like almost weirdly good at bowling?
You have a couple guys that's actually pretty good at bowling that they got a nice little spin to them. I say that they got a nice little spin to them.
So other than football, is there a sport that you're really good at that you enjoy? Like that if you played it, you'd be really good at it?
Oh, basketball. Basketball. I mean, just growing up, I played basketball, football, and then I got into track my junior year of high school. Went out for baseball, tried it first day, didn't like it, and then that was that. But I do want to try to get into baseball though, but I don't want to get hit with the ball though. I just want to hit. Just try to hit it one time.
Yeah. You're good with 300-pound guys coming at you and hitting you, but a baseball, that's where you draw the line. That's where you draw the line. So, because in basketball, is that something you still get to do? Because I know Sam Pittman's probably like, hey man, we need you healthy all the time, but you still get to play, you still get to do it all that, right?
I do. I mean, when we play basketball, they don't really be like no hardcore game. It might be like a little shoot around, a 3-point contest, or we might do a little 5-on-5 scrimmage, but ain't nobody out there trying to finna get drafted to the NBA. So everybody out there just, taking the ease on each other. So
is it still at the Hyper? Is that still where it happens? Yeah. Okay. Glad that hasn't changed since I was in school. Well, KJ, we appreciate you joining us, man. Good luck the rest of SEC Media Days and good luck this season. We appreciate it.
Thank you for that.
Again, that was KJ Jefferson joining us earlier on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast, and pretty cool stuff to get to know him a little outside of the game of football, especially when he's discussing about cars and shopping. How about that? Shopping and sleeping. Man, what a life. Shopping, sleeping, and football. Wish I could do that. Before we go to Landon Jackson, the Razorback defensive lineman, folks, I got to tell you, these days, every new potential hire can feel like a high-stakes wager for your small business. You want to be 100% certain that you have access to the best qualified candidates available. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the right people for your team faster and for free. Can't tell you how many friends of mine have gotten their dream jobs, or at least the jobs that ended up being their dream jobs because they never realized it, because of LinkedIn. It happens each and every day, and it can happen for you as well. So what you do is you just go over to LinkedIn, and with adding your job and purple hashtag hiring frame to your LinkedIn profile, you can spread the word a lot easier that you're hiring. It's why small businesses rank LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus their leading competitors. And LinkedIn Jobs helps you find those candidates that you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free today at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, so continuing on with the Locked On Razorbacks podcast, another really interesting person that I will admit I didn't really have many opportunities to talk to last season or even this offseason because of, KJ's a big name and Rocket's a big guy, big name. Those are the ones that everybody wants to hear from. But I was really fascinated and really looking forward to talking with Landon Jackson, the defensive lineman for Arkansas, who transferred from LSU just last year. He was an impact player that got better as the season went along. And the fact that he might have been the standout player, or at least one of them, this spring. So he got taken to SEC Media Days, and he's got a really cool and fascinating story, especially talking about his proposal to his now fiance. Pretty cool. Take a listen to Landon Jackson, Razorback defensive lineman, earlier today on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Keep it moving here, live from SEC Media Days in Nashville, Tennessee. As we know, the Arkansas Razorbacks are going today, and we have a very special guest, Landon Jackson, the defensive lineman from the Arkansas Razorbacks. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah, man, it's great to have you on. So just tell us, what's the experience been like so far at SEC Media Days?
It's been great getting to chop it up with a bunch of different people, a bunch of different networks, and it's been a fun time for sure.
Yeah. So just coming into this, when you got asked to go to SEC Media Days, and of course, it's usually something that coaches are very particular on.
Yeah.
What was it about what they told you, or at least what Sam Pittman told you, of why they were bringing you down here?
I was actually in Florida when he called, and he just said I had a phenomenal spring. He sees me having a great year, and just that I need to play some of a leadership role in the season. And I thank the coaches for viewing me as a guy that is worthy to come to something like this. So, I'm just excited to be here.
How have you improved as a player, you feel like, from last season to where you're at right now?
I'd say I put on a lot of size. I picked up some speed. But me personally, I feel like the mental aspect of it, like being able to break down certain players and break down myself and actually be able to separate my strengths from my weaknesses, and being able to improve my weaknesses as well. So I feel like that's a major thing that has helped me this year. And overall, just being able to sit there and watch film and actually understand what I'm trying to watch and not just watching it is really what I think has improved me as a player.
So what's it been like for this new defensive staff? I know Deke Adams is obviously the D-line coach, but the transition to a new defensive philosophy, what's that transition been like?
Man, it's been great. Coach Williams, he brings a lot of energy to the team, and I think it flows into practice, and it just makes us all kind of work harder, I guess, because we're happy to be there, makes it a good time, and all around us makes it more enjoyable.
Tell me about Jeff Coat, because he's a guy that a lot of people are pretty
Yeah.
excited about the transfer. Just what have you seen from him being on the other side of you?
He's a phenomenal player. Dude's a freaky athlete. He's, I'd say, about the same size as me, so he has some size on him, and I think he's about to have a phenomenal year.
So what do you do in the summertime offseason when you're not doing football things? Like what does Landon Jackson like to do?
I really like to travel. I
Okay.
do. So whenever we have a little time off, this past summer I took a trip to Cabo, and then I took a trip to Florida, I want to say 2 weeks ago. So I like to travel. I like to go down to the lake. I go to Lake and Hot Springs a lot, go down to Lake Greason in South Arkansas a lot. So, really just going to the lake and spending time with family.
See, I like the lake too. So are
Yeah.
you just the guy that likes to sit on the lake, or do you like to do things actually on the lake?
It really depends on the weekend. There's some weekends where I want to go down and just chill on the water, chill at the lake. And there's other weekends where I want to go down. I want to try getting better at surfing, but
Right.
stuff like that. But, it really just depends. But just being at the lake, I enjoy it. It's a relaxing environment.
Yeah. So when you said you went to Cabo, was that your first time, or have you been to several times?
I've been to Cancun before that, but I've never been to Cabo. And it was actually a whole different experience than what I was thinking.
Really?
You know?
Okay.
Yeah, no, it reminded me a lot of like a South California type deal,
Yeah.
which makes sense since it is connected to that part of California. But no, it was gorgeous. I loved it out there.
Yeah,
It was
was
a
it
good time.
all-inclusive resort type of place, type of deal too?
Me and my fiance now, we
Okay.
weren't at the time. But,
Oh yeah.
we went out there and we stayed in an all-inclusive resort. We did like a camelback riding tour, a bunch of stuff like that. So it was a good time.
Well, since you brought it up, first, congrats on your engagements
Thank you.
and everything. So,
Yep.
what's that like? Because we think about college kids,
Yeah.
Focus on football, focus on studies and everything. A lot of guys are just single, or if they aren't, but having an engagement and being having a fiance. What's that been like as a football player and as a student athlete?
Man, she's a great girl. So
Yeah.
When you know it's the right one, you got to pop the question. And she's kept my head on straight throughout college and throughout our whole relationship. And I think she makes me a better person. And so I'd say 2 weeks ago we were in Florida, and I popped the question, and it's great.
That's awesome. So how did you all meet? Did you meet at Arkansas, or did you meet somewhere else?
We met in high school.
Oh, wow.
Yep,
Okay, so high school sweethearts.
Yep, it was about the end of my sophomore year, I'd say.
Okay, so have you planned out like where the wedding's going to be?
It's already scheduled.
Wow. So you've been on top of it. Okay.
Yeah, April 6th in Fayetteville next year.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. So, well, Landon, we really appreciate you joining us, and it's good to have you here. And good luck this season, man. Sure. We're going to be checking you out for sure.
Thank you.
All right, that was Landon Jackson, Razorback defensive lineman, joining us earlier, and really cool to see him be able to propose and now have his fiance. That's his high school sweetheart, and really fascinating just to get to know him a little bit. And big late guy. Who would have guessed? But yeah, it was cool to catch up with him, and hopefully he has a big year for Arkansas. We'll close up and wrap up a little bit about Sam Pittman and some of the comments he made in our final segment. But folks, this episode is brought to you by Markel. From Fayetteville to El Dorado and everywhere in between, Markel has been helping Arkansas small business communities for over 30 years. Markel is a global specialty insurer with a truly people-first approach. To them, insurance is more than just a piece of paper. It's a promise to help get people back on their feet. We spend a third of our lives working, so on-the-job injuries can be expected. You work hard to build your business, so it's important to make sure that you and your employees have the right insurance coverage. Whether you're new to business or celebrating a 25th year anniversary, have one employee or 1,000 employees, Markel aims to understand your workers' compensation insurance needs. Find a local independent agent to get a free workers' compensation insurance quote today at markelinsurance.com/lockedon. That's MARKEL insurance.com/lockedon. Markel, insuring America's small businesses since 1930. Insurance carrier, coverage, dividends, and services availability may vary by each state. Markel is a registered trademark of the Markel Group, Incorporated.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I mentioned a little bit about Sam Pittman, and to be honest, there was really nothing that he said that was like over the top crazy, like, oh my, we didn't know that. He had some fun quotes. He did talk about the way that it's changed offensively and defensively for the coordinators that have come in. He's talked about KJ and his leadership. Like he's talked about a lot of that stuff, but it hasn't really, it didn't really just like, oh my goodness, like it's so different. Like there was never that case to it. So I will say that with the all SEC voting, we'll see how it plays out, and I'm sure we'll have reactions to it tomorrow on the podcast. But I mentioned KJ Jefferson. I'm voting for first team all SEC, and I'm voting for Rocket Sanders first team all SEC. On bias, calling homerism, I don't care, but it's the way it's going to be. I think that Arkansas has had a great opportunity to have those two players specifically be on this team, but also to have SEC days. A lot of times SEC media days can be about star power and who's bringing it. You've had Heisman Trophy winners come here. So it's Johnny Manziel, Tim Tebow, Bryce Young, guys like that. You've had iconic players that were maybe not Heisman winners, but were just so dominant at their respective teams that they were at. There's been a lot of those. But Arkansas, for the most part, has never really had the star power compared to some teams. And to me, this year, Arkansas brought the star power. KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders, to me, are not only the best players at their respective positions in this conference, but are also the best players at their position combo-wise in the entire country. And when you add into that, and also knowing that they're both 3-year starters, heading into their third year at least, and they both have a great opportunity to get to the NFL and get to the next level, it makes you proud. As a Razorback fan, kind of has to, with how great that they've been able to put this together. So I can't wait till the football season. Being here has been awesome. Being here has been incredible to just get yourself ready, get everybody else ready, let them know that, hey, it's coming. It's arriving. We're getting to the point to where we don't have to worry about any of the nonsense. We're knowing that it's right. You can taste it. You can touch it. And soon we'll be able to start actually talking about games and celebrating games in the right way as God intended. But I appreciate everybody listening in to Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at BuzzJohnNabors for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have, and we'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel tomorrow afternoon. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you then.